Welcome everyone to yet another episode of Takeover United Pod, where we take over your weekend with all things Manchester United. And today in particular was a very, very happy day as a Manchester United fan. Wow. We beat Athletic Bilbao 3-0. I don't think anyone was expecting such a dominant result. Even more so after watching the first 30 minutes of the game, where we were abject horrible, to put it mildly. But then we had 15 minutes of madness in the first half to end it, from the 30th to the 45th minute. And we came away with 3 goals, 3-0. Bilbao fans had their heads in their hands. The fans left early. Their dreams got shattered. I mean, not like Old Trafford is a fortress. We can still lose 4-0 next week, but at least for now, it was a great game. Very, very good result for us, and I think it also led to us kind of just the second half was basically United just preserving that lead. We really didn't try much to score or anything for that matter, except for the odd counter attack. So yeah, Somdeep, what's your overall thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I think. So let me pull up a screen first. Let's look a little bit at the numbers behind the game, right?
Yeah, 1 second. Are
Uh,
you sharing?
yeah, just give me a moment.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, just give me 1 second. Let me pull it up.
So, like this might sound contrarian, but if we look at the game overall, right? Great result. We won 3-0, and I definitely feel like a lot of the players were really focused on the job at hand, and they carried out their roles to perfection. There are a few I want to highlight. Casemiro,
Your
of course.
screen's live, by the way.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, there are a few I wanted to highlight, like Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes. The usual suspects, really,
Yeah.
for us. Even I think Nusar Mazraoui was like really good on the day. Uh, Strangely enough, Maguire and Lindelof in 2025, I think they did a good job.
Who saw that
Uh,
coming?
yeah, yeah. I for one had my share of doubts when the lineup was released, but it worked out, man. But let's dig a little deeper into that, right? Uh, if you look at the overall game, right, the XG, the shots, the dominance looks great. 2.58, 2.98, like that clearly shows we had way more chances and better quality of chances. Uh, However, a bunch of events really influenced that, and the whole game didn't quite flow that way. And let's take a deeper look at that. Now, this is the cumulative XG generated by the teams as the game progressed. I want to highlight minutes 0 to 30.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, and and you can see that Athletic Bilbao ended up with 0.98 XG. The interesting thing is that they created all of that in the first 15 to 20 minutes before Casemiro scored for United. And really, that was the story of the first 20 minutes. I think Bilbao were much better than United. They were pressing us aggressively, as they tend to. And they particularly put Manuel Ugarte under tremendous pressure and created a lot
Yeah.
of chances off that.
Oh
They
man,
came
Ugarte was
close a
so
few times.
embarrassing in the first half hour.
Yeah, I mean, like that sight of seeing him chase his touch, like I think we all had like, we were all like worried, and they came really close. Inaki had a header go just high, and it was like a point blank header from a few feet out. He really should have scored.
Yeah.
So I feel like, and this is weird saying this, but the game really turned from the intervention of one man, Harry Maguire, with his best Lamine Yamal impression on the night. Rohan, like, did you think that he would be a tricky winger on the day?
Yeah,
Well,
Rohan, what do you think?
what,
We spent 80 million on Jadon Sancho. We spent 80 million on Anthony. We spent whatever amount on Ahmad, and turns out the best right winger is Harry Maguire.
I mean, we did spend 80 million on him too.
On
So
Ahmad? I
yeah,
mean, on Maguire. Yeah, yeah, sorry.
yeah, on Maguire.
yeah, but if he keeps doing all these things, then I think we'll get double that in like return on investment, right? We'll recover Anthony and Sancho's money from Maguire. And he's clearly determined to take up the mantle, even from the front as well, because the attackers have been in question for God knows how long now,
Yeah.
and I think,
You
but
know,
yeah, that was not expected.
it's funny you say
And what
that
a great
because
cross as well, man. Like, not just the
Yeah,
run on the right, on the wing, but even that cross. Exquisite.
exactly.
exquisite, yeah. And that little dummy that he did. I mean, he sold the cameraman the dummy, the like and the little divot in the ground, and then he cut it back. It's funny we're talking about Sancho and Anthony because guess who scored elsewhere in Europe tonight?
Yeah.
Anthony.
Yeah, and Anthony, right foot, top corner thunder bastard against David De Gea of all people to
When did
take
he learn
Betis
to
into the
hit
lead.
with his right foot?
I, I don't know, man. Like, when did he learn to shoot again? Because he stopped doing that at United for a while. I don't know where he learned that, but he did. The last time I can remember him scoring a right foot goal was, I think, his equalizer against Liverpool in the cup. But
Hmm.
that was also a rare event. But anyway, yeah, great goals from him and Sancho. But man, Maguire, like, I think Rowan, you were talking about this earlier, but what a revival he's enjoyed in his career. At a point where I think all of us, especially me, I'd written him off completely.
Yeah, I think pretty much all of us, last season completely wrote off Maguire, right? Not just us.
Yeah,
A majority of the fan base wrote off Maguire. He was getting booed on the pitch. He was getting abused online. He was getting threats at his home. And but Harry Maguire never complained. He never kind of. You could see he was playing crap on the pitch, but that was not for lack of effort, right? It was more for say lack of
yeah.
ability or lack of or confidence issues. But he always gave everything on the pitch, and obviously, I think every coach has seen that, and he's continued to start games for us. Um, sure, he did get stripped off his captaincy, which I think was maybe helped a bit to take the pressure off his head a little.
I feel so too. Yeah,
Yeah, but
like, and
the
is it really a demotion to lose your captaincy to Bruno Fernandes? I
yeah,
mean, like,
exactly, right. But
it's not the worst event in the world.
yeah, yeah, totally. And yeah, but the just the turnaround that Harry Maguire has enjoyed, um, I would say we should not sell him. Like I'm at that level now. Like a year ago I was like, sell him, who cares, But I think now, like I know he's still not a very good player despite playing as a striker and a pseudo right winger yesterday. I know his limitations, but I think um, Harry Maguire, he can be a presence in the dressing room, right? See, all our players will have their ups and downs, right? There will be phases when they're not performing well, and they kind of crap the bed to say, like some of our players are doing right now, Mister Rasmus, but or even any new recruits that we get in the summer, they obviously have a period of adjustment, a period of when they're not playing well
Yeah.
or not living up to their potential. I think Harry Maguire can be our sports psychologist in the dressing room because a sports psychologist still hasn't actually played the game. Harry Maguire has gone through it and come out of it a stronger man.
Yeah, but man, he hasn't done sports psychology.
He doesn't need to. He has never played a striker too. He still scores goals for us.
uh, honestly, like, yeah, I think his revival is excellent. And I've said this earlier. probably don't want to see him continue in the team next season. Despite these performances, uh, I would have maybe preferred to see him sold, but I won't hate on it if he stays. Like, I get the basis of it. For better or for worse, this system just needs so many center backs, man.
Yeah.
And Maguire is decent Premier League upper mid table center back currently. So I think
And we are
as
lower mid
backup,
table, so he's still better than what we are.
yeah, and I think as backup certainly he's a
Yeah.
presence we can do within the squad. So why
Yeah.
not?
Backup, super sub. We need that slab head of his to get a goal at the end of the game.
100%, 100%. Like, I'm just grateful that the final of Europa League isn't in Greece because that would have been real problem. All right, I want to get back to the game for a moment because you know how we say it's a game of two halves. So I feel like this is a game that's spun on that Casemiro
Yeah, but
goal.
one second, I
Like,
just want to get also Rowan's thoughts on this on Harry
yeah,
Maguire
so,
before we move on. So yeah, Rowan,
Uh,
what do you think?
I think it was. I think we talked about this some time ago as well, like keeping Maguire, extending Harry Maguire or not.
yeah,
I certainly believe like he has good leadership quality, and sometimes you need those kind of players in the squad because there are, again, lots of young people coming in now who will be getting promoted, or just like we'll get new signings and everything.
Yeah.
So having that kind of presence in the dressing room really really matters. Also, he's kind of that professional, like that teacher's pet kind of a guy. Like he does give that kind of vibe. Like like how Scott McTominay was.
Yeah.
Rowan,
Yeah.
you're dangerously close to slab head profiling.
Yeah, he does give those. Even McTominay was also just a similar way. Like the coaches used to
Yeah,
love him and everything.
Hmm.
So yeah, like and also squad depth, right? Like we will not be able to spend too much like on positions, like let's say center backs and everything. And we
right.
play with three at the back now. So having him kind of makes sense. Like continuing with him kind of makes sense right now.
Yeah, and I feel like you always like the two positions you always need old heads in the team and one center back. Uh, Maybe goalkeeper sometimes, but center back and striker. It's always good to have experienced players in those areas. You can't rely on younger players alone in those positions.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. So yes, so deep. You were
Yeah,
going somewhere before I cut you off. So
no, that's yeah. I just wanted to kind of talk about how clearly a game of like two
hmm.
parts
Right.
pre Casemiro goal. Uh, but then I think before the Casemiro goal, it was all Bilbao, aggressive pressing.
Yeah.
I think aggressive counter attacks by they basically used their rapid wingers on
Hmm.
either side the Williams brothers and targeted the space left by wing backs, which I think more teams should do, and we haven't really seen them do often enough. But
Yeah.
uh, Bilbao certainly did it,
So do you
and
think it's fair to say that this was a game which sure we won 3-0 at the end, but we could have just as easily lost 3-0.
100%. And that's kind of what I wanted to highlight. You know what you're saying, that I feel like the game could have easily swung Bilbao's way and was
Hmm.
heading in that direction very
Yeah.
much until the Casemiro goal. Uh,
And
and of
also the
course, it's
penalty which came
controversial.
soon after.
Yeah, yeah. I think the penalty kind of just killed whatever. Because even after Casemiro's goal, Bilbao continued some of the momentum. You can
Right.
see it on the graph here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But man, that penalty and the double shock of the red card leading to Bilbao losing their best centre back in
Hmm.
Daniel Vivian. Uh, that was a double blow, and they couldn't deal with that. Like, I think the penalty decision was fair.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys agree, but I'm not so sure that deserved a red card. To me, it looked like a yellow. It was, although he did clearly hold Holland back. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think they were saying that because it impeded him while trying to score in the box.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
a red. There is some jokes saying that if he actually hadn't pulled Holland down, that there would be no goal
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah, that would have been like that would have been the more effective defensive
Yeah, just let him
approach.
cook. He's not cooking shit.
And that's not the worst argument because I did feel like he tried too hard there. But the thing is, Vivian is clearly Bilbao's best centre back, and I think he's been so for a while.
Hmm.
And he's really quick. He's a big part of how they can press
Yeah.
so high at times. So I feel it sets us up well for the next match as well, assuming his red card isn't overturned. The fact that Bilbao don't have their best centre back.
Hmm.
Because, like you said, man, Old Trafford is not a fortress.
Yeah, I mean, it's teams are looking forward to come to Old Trafford. More like,
Or, yeah, yeah. Uh, Given that we're on the subject of the red card, right? I
yeah.
want to highlight something else. I'm just going to bring that up on the screen. It's just a still, really. Yeah. So, can you guys see the setup on my screen right now?
Yes.
Yeah, just putting on the stream, and here we go.
Yes. So I'm not sure. I think this is after the red card. Yeah, it looks like Bilbao are down one man. But anyway, this was kind of the setup we moved to around the time of the red card, maybe a
Hmm.
little before it. Uh, Three at the back. You can see Euro at left center back. You can see Maguire on the ball and Lindelof out of the frame. Had an excellent game, by the way, Lindelof.
Yeah.
Um, Casemiro in kind of a 3-1-6 setup. He's the one in midfield. He played as a single pivot. And you can see Bruno and Ugarte, they typically occupy the same line and were very close to each other
Hmm.
for much of the. So it was almost like a triangle in midfield, like how you'd see in a three-man midfield. And you can see Garnacho and Hoyland primed to make runs beyond Bilbao's last man, almost operating as center forwards or split center forwards, right? So this was kind of how we broke down their 10-man block. They didn't really sit too deep even after going down a man. And I, I kind of like the look of this. I thought this was an attacking setup by Amorim.
Hmm.
Against Lyon, I felt we were too defensive after they went down to 10 men and we invited a lot of pressure onto us. Today, it wasn't quite as bad. I think, and the way we benefited from this was he removed Ugarte completely from deep build-up responsibility, right? And he just moved him higher up the pitch. So that issue of Ugarte receiving the ball and being pressed by Bilbao completely disappeared with this change.
Hmm.
Of course, helped by the fact that they had one less man, but I
Yeah.
still thought this was a good adjustment that really helped us.
Um. Yeah. Agreed. I think another thing I wanted to also ask you guys. Um. Bilbao also missed two key players, right? They. I mean, at least one. They missed Sunset for the game, who is
Yeah,
their top
that's
goal
right.
scorer this season.
Yeah.
He scored 17 goals for them this season in all competitions. So how much do you think that affected their performance today?
Uh, I think he's a huge miss. Like Juan Sanchez, I know for a fact there are a lot of clubs in Europe are interested in pricing him away from Bilbao. Different story if they'll be lucky at that or not. But he is such an influential attacking midfielder in the setup, and so much of their play goes through with him. I think they played Berenguer in his position, and he's not naturally comfortable in that area. So they they, uh, they definitely lost out a lot on it. But there was another personnel change or absence, maybe, that kind of hurt them. Uh, the striker for them was young 24-year-old Marwan Sanadi, if I'm seeing his name correctly. he was playing in the second or third division until a few months ago, so he
Hmm.
doesn't have a huge amount of top level experience. Now, he was physically strong, 6 feet 4. He tried to impose himself really well in duels, but a lot of his hold up play was hit and miss. There were some easy giveaways and stuff. So I feel like not having their usual striker, like say Gurzetta, fully fit,
Yeah.
probably hurt them. I saw good flashes from Sanadi, but
Hmm.
he's clearly still not fully used to the pace of the game at this level, and that also hurt them.
Yeah. Yeah. Funnily enough, Bruno Fernandes, our top scorer, had also scored 17 goals, but in many, many more games compared to Sunset. Now,
But
yeah,
you know what? That's like remarkable, don't you think, Ron? Because I feel like this is the best season from, and Bruno's had great seasons at United. But don't you
yeah,
feel like this is maybe the best season we've seen from at United? He's been everywhere.
Yeah, I could agree with you on that. It's yeah, and because of the lack of personnel in the team, like in deep midfield and everything, at times with injuries and everything, he's been asked to switch back, play from the back, then move ahead, then come back. Depending on, so he's been asked to, like, the whole team has been adjusting to Amorim's formation, but again, Bruno has played like, an instrumental role here. Not really like he's not looked out of place, even though he's been switched so many times.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's really commendable, and like yeah, as captain, he's leading by example, and that's what we are seeing here. Definitely, definitely, well,
yeah.
could be possibly
Hmm.
his best season. This one.
So, Ron, apart from Bruno, who is one player that you think impressed the most in today's game?
I would say Casemiro.
yeah,
Casemiro was really
Ang
really
still
good.
got it.
Uh,
yeah. And still got
yeah,
it, man.
yeah,
Like
Punk.
he
Still
was
got
he
it.
was putting his
Yeah.
best Kevin De Bruyne impression out there today. Like in the second half, right? There was this time when Garnacho played off the ball to him, and he whipped this far post cross across the face of goal. And for a minute, I thought I saw De Bruyne on the pitch. Like honestly, the pace and whip on that ball. Uh, he's been incredible with a runner next to him. I feel that pressure of having to cover ground has been taken off him.
Yeah, that's actually like where Ugarte helps a little bit. Like he has that kind of energy which can like balance out Casemiro
Shh.
and
We don't say that.
But Ron, do you think Ugate really helps?
good,
Yesterday,
good.
Ugate was running straight into the Bilbao press and losing the ball till Casemiro scored that goal. Like Casemiro had to freaking score a goal to make Ugarte play,
Pretty much, yeah.
which ironically was an
No,
Ugarte assist. I don't know what happened, what was happening in the game, but
Ugarte has 5 GA in the last 4 games in Europe, by the way. He scored against Lyon.
yeah, yeah. The thing with United also, as I've seen for the past few games, also like we have generated a lot of XG, a lot of XG more than the other teams as well, and it's always an open game. It's just like United games have become a lot about like who which team really takes their chances, and United have been taking some and missing a lot as well. It also depends on like what the other team is doing. If they're taking their chances, then it becomes like a close game. But then having more XG also kind
Yeah,
of
but
like doesn't guarantee us the results. That's the thing.
yeah, I
But
think I'll
still,
also call back to what Somdeep was saying in the last part. For a you know like why we have high XG, right? If you look at our last few results before yesterday,
yeah,
we and I mean all these are games in which we had decent XG. Like we drew 1-1 to Bournemouth, we lost to Wolves 1-0. If
right.
we
We
ignore the
won both
Leon
on
and
XG.
Newcastle games, we were 0-0 with City, lost again 1-0 to Forest. And all these games, we kind of won on XG. And the reason that happened
I
is the other team scored first, and then they, you know,
exactly.
went prime De Gea on us, prime De Gea, Maldini, and whatever. And we just kept taking shots. But you know who our striker is, so we never finish anything. So the other
Yeah.
side never really had a reason to even try to score another goal.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere today that out of the last 9 games, we've only lost one on XG. Out of the last 9, we've so like on paper we should have on paper maybe won 8 of the last 9, but
No,
it's
but
like
again,
you
the
said.
argument is, all those close losses, which we lost 1-0, and even Bournemouth, we drew 1-1 in the dying minutes of the game. If we had scored that
Yeah,
equalizer, say in the, I don't know, 50th, 60th, 70th minute.
Yeah, we still get a chance to at
yeah,
least
that's
like
different.
go
No,
on
no,
and
no,
win the
no. I'm
game.
not saying of us getting a chance. I'm saying we would have a chance to lose on XG at that point because another team would wake up.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, I agree with you, Brad. Like, I think teams are like naturally responding to game states, right? And
Yeah.
XG has to defer to game states. And the minute a team is a goal up, like they're gonna like take lesser risks. They're
And they
gonna
know we don't
absorb
score.
a little
Our
more pressure.
highest goal scorer
Yeah,
is a guy playing center back, DM, AM, everything in one. And that's our highest
probably
goal
play
scorer.
keeper.
That is I think see I don't like for teams not like trying to just wake up not wake up depending on United. I don't really agree with that because it's I think it's more complacency from the other teams also, like to not really just to sit back after scoring, just to think that
100%.
okay it's United and we just sit back and what are
They
they
have
gonna
a
do, that
point.
kind of attitude. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually think that's exactly what it is. I
Yeah.
think they
Yeah.
feel more secure knowing that they can deny us space, and
Yeah.
we won't really score from it. Like we kind of start farming XG with a lot of shots at that
Even if
point.
you look at the Bournemouth game, we comprehensively won on XG. But we
Yeah,
equalized in the dying, literally the last shot of the game is when we equalized.
I think today's game is a great example of what you're saying because on one hand we like the XG was almost 3-1, right? But
Yeah.
the other reality is that for the first 25 minutes the XG was 1 to almost 0 from us,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's a pretty scary like storyline. Like if we don't get that Casemiro goal, or okay, maybe we can have the goal, but if we don't get that red card going our way or
Hmm.
the penalty,
Yeah.
and the score's still 1-0, the game could have been very different, and it was heading in a different direction right then because they would have scored eventually. But
E-
yeah, the red card I think
even
has
even Leon
killed the
even
time.
Leon second even Leon second leg they came and they just like started like getting good chances and also taking them as well, and we
Yeah,
were put under a lot of pressure and we had to outscore them basically after in
yeah,
like in the dying minutes. So
Yeah,
it's
we
all
basically
it's
switched
it's
off in
usually
Leon in the
open.
second half, right?
Yeah.
We went 2-0
100%.
up
Yeah.
and our defense switched off. And compared to the opposition we play, who go one love or two love up against us, they don't switch off. They kind of solidify the defense.
The only difference I felt in this game is we didn't sit back as much as we did when Leon went down to 10 men, probably as a response to
Did you see the second
how
half,
that game
Somdeep?
went. I mean, okay, we did, but we were 3-0 up at that point in the
Yeah,
first, like, away, right? Like,
right.
at that point, it was more like a, okay, it's a tactical decision. We
No,
can
I know. I'm
understand.
just saying we sat. You saying we didn't sit back? We sat back for an entire half.
Yeah, but I feel with Leon, we sat back at a time when it didn't make sense to,
Right,
because
right.
there were 45 minutes left and the danger was still imminent. Here, like, even if they score, the
Hmm.
tie is still
Yeah.
in our favor, so it
No,
didn't really hurt us much.
but even yesterday, Somdeep and Rohan, for the first 20
Yeah,
to 30 minutes, like we didn't voluntarily sit back, but Bilbao had us pinned to our half with the
Bilbao had
amount they
us
pressed.
opened up
That
easy, man.
that
Yeah.
is
100%.
that is all that is gonna be there this season, right? Like it's not
Yeah, no, I'm
we are
saying
not.
no. That's what I'm saying. We didn't
Yeah.
sit back, but we were forced to sit
Yeah.
back because the amount of
Yeah.
relentless pressure that Bilbao was putting on us, and it was same in the Bournemouth game as well. The amount Bournemouth was pressing us, right? Just insane. Like
I
I
mean,
don't see anybody in
there's a
our.
link between the two teams. There's a link between the two teams, right? Like Anthony Iraola, he was right back for Bilbao for like, I don't know, like 600 odd games. I feel like they have similar styles. Like
Yeah.
both these teams thrive on a lot of high pressure regains in the attacking half, and they try to generate attacks from those transitions.
Mm-mm.
And we know we can't play out of the back, man.
Yeah.
Like it's just not something we can do.
Yeah. So let me ask you this question. Who was who were one or two players that absolutely kind of didn't play well at all, or just completely disappointed you in the game? You're not allowed to answer Manuel Ugarte.
Those
Okay, I thought
game.
Hoyland was the exception here, but it's fine. Like except Hoyland, you were gonna say I thought.
You know,
No, I think
the
Holland
weirdly
actually
aside
had
Holland,
a decent game, even though he
yeah,
didn't come on the score sheet.
Yeah,
he actually had one of his better performances of the season. I mean, Amram said he had his best game of the season, and I kind of agree. He did overall. Like, he actually was holding up play and laying it off to
No,
teammates,
yeah,
and that
true.
was a welcome change
Yeah.
for once.
I think Amorim
And he
was
won
also
the
being
penalty.
cheeky with words.
Yeah, he was, because he also
Yeah.
said that
Uh,
Maguire is a great winger.
so,
I think he was being serious there.
so when
I gotta ask you guys something because it kind of bothered me a little. Kobe should have gotten more minutes in today's game. What do you guys think about that? Because I saw Mount coming on, but I personally thought maybe Kobe should have been the one coming on.
I honestly don't know why Kobe didn't start in place of Ugarte, for example. Kobe doesn't get bullied off the ball as easily, and
Yeah,
I
I
think that would
agree.
have helped us a lot to control the game state, especially in the first half hour. I mean, sure, we won, all's well and good, but this game could have gone very differently on another day, very, very easily.
100%.
And I
Yeah,
think you don't you don't create a lineup based on such small chances, right? Like, I mean, it's like I don't know, man. It's like going all in a poker hand with, I don't know, 6-3 offsuit or something. That's how I would characterize our lineup yesterday. It made no sense. Like, obviously Amorim is not stupid. He knows how Bilbao presses, and yet to
yeah,
go with Ugarte. I think Ugarte has his strengths, in a different environment, a different kind of opposition. But against Bilbao, man, it was hard to watch. Like, even Casemiro, you know, despite his age, was holding up better. And I think we really missed Mainu. Um, if we would have lost the game, we would be sitting here asking why Mainu didn't start.
yeah. I gotta
yeah,
agree on that.
yeah, totally. It's like when a team presses high and hard like that, then you need kind of a player skill of Mainu
Yeah,
who has that skill to have has that press resistance to carry the ball for us. But I also get the feeling sometimes that maybe Amorim kind of trusts Ugarte more than Mainu. I get that feeling. I'm not
Yeah,
100% sure, but uh,
he does. He does.
I think he does that because otherwise there's no like I can't find any argument why Ugarte would start over Mainu
I
if
mean,
Mainu is fully fit
Ugarte player
for this
Sporting,
game.
right? This is Anthony and ETH all over again.
Yeah, yeah, but still,
Man, we
like
nearly
it is
lost Ahmad
questionable.
through
It
that
is
last
questionable.
time. Uh, like I get that on paper, Ugarte adds like a bit of ground coverage and
Mm.
running, and he does do that stuff. But like we saw in the first 25 minutes, it didn't matter. Like they were still running right through our midfield because no matter how much ground Ugarte covers, like it's not going to be enough to deal with transitions from a team like Bilbao, right? Like, and it didn't. Like they were carving us open with ease. Uh, things looked better when he moved higher into this position, like we're seeing on the screen. But also Bilbao went down to 10 men. So I can't really tell if that has anything to do with his presence. He he played better later, of course, but the conditions were much easier
Yeah.
at that point, and they kind of backed off. I get the feeling that in Amorim's system, he's okay with Casemiro because, of course, he brings a lot of defensive bite, but he also brings like really good range of passing, and we
Hmm.
saw that today.
I think also full credit to Amorim. He has kind of changed how Casemiro is used. Right.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think one of the reasons he pairs him with Ogartic is him accepting that Casemiro isn't going to cover much ground. So here's a guy who can do that next to him, and he limits how much running Casemiro has to do.
Yeah.
But
I think it also helps that Casemiro has three center backs behind him, so he doesn't need to
yeah,
defend or kind of stretch himself so much in that way. He can focus more on
and I don't
his strengths.
and like you're saying, like Casemiro has been playing really well, but as a collective, we're not still really good. Like it's working in bits and pieces, like this game, but uh, is that the whole picture? I don't think so. Like I don't think this tie is done and dusted. I can see us conceding like
Yeah,
two, maybe even three goals to Bilbao at Old Trafford.
I
We're
won't be
capable of
surprised.
that.
But here's a question for you both. For the return tie, right at Old Trafford, I feel, and well, feel free to call me out if it is stupid take, but I think we should start Minu and Mount in the game, and
Okay.
that would obviously mean, and I think we should pair Minu with Casemiro, but that obviously means we have to drop one of Garnacho or Hoyland. Um, but I think if we start Ahmad on the right wing, that would give us, say, the creative output we might lose by dropping Garnacho. But the reason I want to start Minu and Mount is that I think those two are the best press resistant players we have. And Bilbao will be coming out of the gate with a insane press in the return tie. Like they will be firing on all cylinders to get that, how to come back into the game. So yeah, that's what I feel. I think those two players are very critical for us, and also Ahmad just to unlock that right wing. Like yesterday, who were we playing? Yeah, we're playing Dog on the
Garnacho.
right. No, on the wing back.
No, we played Garnacho and Mazraoui on the right side.
Yeah, no, I'm saying on the wing back today. Yeah, we played Mazrao and
Mazraoui.
Dorgo, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. Dogwood left.
yeah, Dorgo and left. So I think instead of Mazrao, if we can play Ahmad, which will give us creative output as well on a right wing, and then put Mount in the right 10. And Mount, obviously, I mean, he's also a good creative player. But I think that press resistance which he gives would be very important for us in the return tie.
Uh, I agree with some of what you said, but like I have a slightly different take on it. I didn't originally want Mazraoui at right wing back because I wasn't sure
Hmm.
how he'd do in that role. But given that we're 3-0 up and we probably want to keep that lead, I would keep him at right wing back just to deal with Nico Williams. I thought he did a decent enough job today.
Hmm.
And I don't mind the extra defensive cover he gives on that side. So
Right.
I'd probably not want a very attacking right wing back. Uh,
Okay.
we could maybe put Dorgu in his place, but I would want Mazraoui or Dorgu next week.
Hmm.
Uh, I do think maybe we could play Shaw at LCB. That could be a change that might help us for that game. But
Yeah.
Euro's been great too, so
Right. Yeah, Euro was
that's a
immense
trick.
today.
Yeah, yeah. We might
Just
just see Euro, Maguire, and Shaw in the return leg.
I think Somdeep is thinking a lot like Amorim now. So I think that would most probably be the case. That take kind of gives me all the like this is what I feel Amorim will do. I think he's absolutely spot
Yeah,
on. He might
yeah.
play he might continue Mazraoui at RCB and
But what do you
Yeah,
probably
think
put
about
Shaw
starting
there.
Mount
Yeah.
over Garnacho? and Mainu
I
over
mean,
Ugarte.
personally, I would love mine over Ugarte, but like Rohan said, I don't think Amorim is gonna do that. Like personally, yeah, I see the benefit of playing Casemiro, Mino, Bruno, and Mount.
Yeah,
I think that can work as long as you have uh and what I'd do if we've got those four players at that point, I think we'd have to play Hoyland to stretch the team and give us some hold. So I don't know if it makes sense to leave out both Garnacho and Ahmad. I'm not such a big fan of doing that.
what about putting
Uh,
Garnacho up top?
I like the idea of that, but we won't get any hold up players. I think he'd do all right with the attacking runs, but we won't see much in the form of hold up play.
Hmm.
Uh, he's probably going to stick with the same setup. I think he's going to keep Ugarte Casemiro. He's going to keep Bruno Garnacho Hoyland. Like I don't think there are going to be any changes except uh, Shaw at LCB
Yeah.
and maybe Euro at RCB. That's the only change I can see him making.
Yeah, I mean that's probably a fair shout given how stubborn Amorim is.
Yeah, just based off that, he is from the same school of thought, and literally from the same school as Joseph. So
Yeah. No, but I mean, I hope he does some tweaks, because despite the scoreline, like we have discussed it to death today,
yeah, it
Ugarte
wasn't a
can
good
just
one.
as easily lose us the next leg and potentially the tie. So,
And I think
No,
we
yeah,
sorry, go
Ron.
yeah,
ahead,
go
Ron.
ahead. No, I think one there has to be one change at least of what Pratyush said. Uh, Maybe bring Manu in because I can very well see like a repeat like the Leon game, where Atletico come
Yeah,
out all guns blazing, and if I think we will have to score to really keep them out of the tie. So for that, I think we need to make minor changes rather than sticking with the same lineup because there's a lot of risk of
Yeah.
they might also they might very well get the 3 goals and even more.
Hmm.
Like there's a big chance of that. So yeah, 100% would
Or,
switch
or
things a little
maybe
bit.
what we should do, if we should play Harry Maguire at striker. He's great at hold up play as a natural centre back, and he is supposedly great at scoring goals now.
yeah,
Just
Yeah,
play
yeah,
Harry
we
at the
can we
front.
can say that. Yeah, just bring in Shaw and then play him at center back and push Harry up like number 9
Yeah,
and bench Holland.
yeah. Bilbao will never see it coming, man.
Yeah,
I feel like there's one other experiment we could try because like Hoyland doesn't really win a lot of aerial battles anyway,
Hmm.
and he's the player I'd be most comfortable with dropping.
Yeah,
Uh, we could try an experiment where we play Casemiro, Manu, Bruno, kind of in a three-man midfield, and play Mason Mount false nine in front of them,
hmm.
and have Garnacho play off him either as a just like a channel runner or like a winger, however you see it.
So now you're gone way
Uh,
back to the LVG 352.
just because I'm thinking it doesn't change the dynamics of what we're seeing, but Mount can drop into midfield and help us
so
give an extra
that's not
man.
a bad shout actually. It's like something which Amorim would never do, but still
Yeah,
not a bad shout.
yeah.
Yeah,
And to make it work, I would play Shaw LCB and Euro or Lindelof RCB just to get the angles working.
Yeah,
Because the nice thing with Bruno on the left side, playing that left 10 or whatever is, he always looks for overlaps with Dorgu.
yeah,
Even today, he doesn't miss those. And I like that combination.
yeah.
yeah.
One.
Everybody except Garnacho does that. So
Yeah. Yeah. Like at this point, the ball boys probably combined with Dorgu more than Garnacho.
yeah, yeah.
Man, even Ronaldo would probably combine more with Dorgu.
I mean, Ronaldo combined with Garnacho. Garnacho's first goal against Sociedad was assisted by Ronaldo.
No, but Ronaldo has become like the assist man also now. Now
So,
he's like, as he's grown older, like he has
Yeah,
become the assist man more, much more.
yeah.
it's
Not
the knees, man. They gave away.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's I think we have discussed the Bilbao game to death. Uh, before we end, I think we should do a short discussion about the two other games that happened while we were off. The
Let's pretend they didn't, man. Like the
yeah,
whole Premier League season.
that's just like
I just hope we make it to the final, and if we make it to the final, I really hope we don't lose to Spurs, because
yeah,
man, there's no coming back from that. Losing to
yeah, it,
Spurs in a European final, like holy shit.
oh my
yeah,
god.
that would be very very horrible. Like losing to Spurs in the final, that would be deeply
Yeah,
like
Especially
if you think
being the
anything
first
can't
team
get
in like 50 years to lose to Spurs in a final. My god.
yeah, and
oh
and the worst thing would be having to see all those tweets with Ange saying, "Oh, I usually win things in my second year," and being the reason that came true. No, like mate, I could not take that.
Are we firing Amorim if that happens?
I feel like he should just leave if that happens. Just like take it, and go. Like
uh,
Russell.
but
Like,
yeah,
take
anyways,
it.
you won't have any cheeky comment to make after that because that is like the ultimate
He
loss.
has already made all his cheeky comments, man. He has said multiple times you're garbage and the worst side in history. So, what more cheeky comments can he make at this point?
I absolutely hate that. Like every week he's like, we must suffer, and then we proceed to suffer even more the next week. Like maybe try saying like we'll be okay, and you never know. Maybe we win the
So
next one.
somebody didn't teach him like as a manifestation, manifest what is that and
No,
everything.
he's
He told
manifesting
them
our
like,
suffering, man, at this point.
Pretty much, yeah. He has not read The Secret. I highly recommend he read it. Of
Uh,
course, it could
yeah.
backfire.
But this is the thing with like I think Amorim has now gone into the dressing room and told them like we are only focusing on Europa and like screw the PL for now.
100%, because every time they play in the Premier League, it's like
no, but
they're playing cricket.
here's one thing. Here's one thing I don't understand. And just if you look at the Bournemouth and Wolves games, and if you look at the game yesterday, we
Yeah.
roughly play the same players. It's not like we played a bunch of kids against Wolves or Bournemouth. And sure, Harry Ama started. I think
Yeah, but he played well.
Fredrickson started a game. No, but I'm saying broadly, the rest of the players. I mean, Bruno played both the games, so we were playing we were playing full strength
Bruno's the guy, when you have soccer tournaments, he plays for like multiple teams. Like he's that player.
in the same
They
game.
have a free, yeah, in the same game. Like
He
No,
will
so
go and play like the retirees match also. He's like-
no, so
in
what I'm
every
saying
game
is,
he'll play.
we played close to full strength sides in both the games, right?
yeah,
And we were comprehensively outplayed in both matches, and not just the two in those two matches, but kind of throughout the season domestically. And not a lot of sides in the league are better than Bilbao. I would say Bilbao is a very very good side, and yet the results are what they are. So why do you think that is? Like, how is the
yeah. But I
same
mean,
group of players playing so bad domestically that they
I,
look so uninspiring, so out of sorts? You know,
I have strong feelings
like we are
about this, and
15th in
like
the
I was,
table. If we are fourth in the table and we kind of gave up, I'd be like, sure, man, these guys got top for their own care. But we are 15th or 16th or whatever it is, man. I don't care. But we were flirting with relegation till a couple of game weeks ago.
I think like okay, like before I dive into it, like Bilbao were better than us. Like I do feel like the red card really turned
Yeah,
things in our favor.
yeah,
I I think overall they were the much better team, and we saw flashes of what they can do.
yeah.
Having said that, I do think the Premier League. I don't think the top teams in the Premier League are better than the top teams in La Liga, but I think the general team in the Premier League is like we're more used to playing at a higher intensity, like Bilbao, throughout this course of the season. That doesn't make the Premier League football better. I'm just talking about
Yeah.
the
Mm.
approach, right? So I think in that sense, Bilbao are a very English seeming side because they play really high intensity all game, and it did feel like a PL game at some point because
Yeah.
25 minutes in and then you only had three chances. I was like, yes, this is familiar. Uh, Having said that, and this is a pet peeve of mine. I think the reason this happens, right? Like we're 15th, and for whatever reason, players look clocked out, right? But when you're a club that enters a league season and you don't have a defined goal, right? Because if your goals or your best chances in the season are like top four or top six, right? If you zoom out, that's not a real goal. I- It's not okay. Maybe to some extent, top four has become a goal of sorts,
Yeah, getting
but
European football to take top 5, top 6.
and that works in certain aspects, right? But the problem with having top four as your solitary hope for a season is a team is bound to suffer a lot of inconsistency because a few losses go in there, and it's like, what are you fighting for? You don't even have a shot at top four, then you suddenly dropped into sixth, seventh, eighth, and that starts feeling very different,
Mm.
right? I mean, we sacked EDH when we were well, I think we sacked him when we were way lower, but we finished eighth last season, and that felt like a failure without the FA Cup, right? So I feel like the danger when you're a yo-yo club in that range is you don't have a defined goal, right? Part of why Arsenal's seasons have appeared and been more competitive since 22-23 is Arteta has them gunning for the title.
Yeah.
They're not going to win it. We know that. Maybe they know that. Everyone else knows that. But but having said that, their goal is in their heads
No,
winning the
Somdeep,
title.
I agree. But even when Arsenal's goal was top 4, maybe they finished 5th or 6th. They didn't finish 14th or 15th. So
Yeah,
that's what
but
I'm talking
but
about. We are 14th today in the Premier League.
yeah, but that was a
Like, sure,
different
if you're
era
eighth
in
or
terms of
if you're eighth or ninth, I would have agreed with you, right? That we're a top 4, top
right,
6 yo-yo club. Other sides just did better than us, and we came eighth. Like last season, right? We were eighth. We had
right.
injuries, we had new players, an injury, so the team didn't gel. And Eric was a jackass, so he finished eighth. But
Yeah,
this season, we are 14th. Like teams like Crystal Palace are above us, or
yeah,
Bournemouth,
but
or
there are
Fulham. Like,
but there are special reasons for why we are in that dump, right? Like you look at Palace, right? But Palace wanted to play a three at the back, and they've been kind of trying to do that for like the last two managers.
hmm.
They kind of have a squad which supports those roles. They have players who can play wing back and stuff. So they, when they wanted to hire the next manager, they're like, okay, we'll get in Glasner, who's well known for often employing that system, and that's exactly what he did.
Man,
So,
LVG played 3 at the back with a bunch of misfits, and still we what came 6th.
well, we did get top four in his first season and
Yeah,
fifth in the FA Cup in his second.
right.
But you have to also remember that LVG was a very experienced top level manager. Yeah, he had issues, but he was also fundamentally very experienced at that level. It
Hmm.
wasn't like a complete shock to him. But uh, okay, there are two problems to this. One is like why United suffers from this, and one is the danger of the yo-yo club. Right?
Yeah,
Look at Spurs. Like Spurs have a better squad than us. You'd agree, right, Rohan? You too.
yeah. No, I mean,
So
even if you
Yeah.
consider when Eric was fired,
Uh,
Eric was fired in what, game week 11 after the Leicester game?
yeah, that's
Uh,
right.
and at game week 11, we were what, 14th? No, sorry.
I
Come
think we
on.
were 13th.
Yeah, something like that. We were still bad. So even if you say Amorim and three at the back, it's not like when Eric got fired we were doing better. It's not like we went from 8th to 14th, right? We went from 14th to 14th.
It's because last season coming eighth was a pretty accurate reflection of the quality of our squad. Like we didn't deserve to be higher, even if you look at the
Hmm.
underlying data and so on. It was fairly the right position, right? We ended the season in eighth, and I always feel that the quality of your defense and attack decides how low you can fall on the table, and the quality of your midfield decides how high you can climb
Hmm.
relative to each other, right? So we ended the season in eighth. We lacked goals. We didn't really fix the goal scoring issues. Like we brought in Zergsy, but he isn't really a effective goal scorer, right?
Yeah.
So we kind of stayed at the eighth level or maybe dropped to 10th because other teams improved
Yeah, I
in
think
the
we were
summer
10th when
around us.
Tenai got fired, but again, it was very close. We were like only a few points above
Yeah.
14th or whatever. So,
Admittedly, though, we were 4 points off top four
sure.
because it was earlier in the season. But yeah, we weren't that great. So yeah, like not upgrading the goal scorers, that makes us automatically around the 10th level. When you're a team whose rough quality is top 10, like you're pretty much a yo-yo club at that point. Forget the title. I mean, you don't have any clear defined goals. Like, what's the aim for the season? Get Conference League football? What's the motivating factor for any game in the season going to be? I feel what happens at that point is players mentally check out,
Hmm.
and too much effort in the league becomes kind of not so worthwhile. Like it just becomes survive and coast through the season, almost like a tank season in basketball. And Spurs and United have done that this year. You combine that with the fact that Europa no longer allows Champions League teams to drop into them, and it makes even more sense to prioritize that ahead of the league.
Hmm.
Having said that, 10th is roughly the level of our team, and we've changed managers from one system to the other. So I think it's pretty reasonable that we're around that position right now. I don't think we're better than that
Yeah.
with or without Amarim. What do you think, Rohan? Like, do you think this team belongs higher?
I actually agree with you on that, and it's see when Amorim came in, uh, it was it was like a major change. When Ineos came in, it was a major change.
Right?
And yeah, it's like completely different system. We knew there are there are players at the club that we need to move on. That we knew that new
Hmm.
players have to come in. So when that it is that kind of a situation, and you know that Amorim is going to take time to settle in because he's also not that experienced as he pointed out only. So when you are in that situation, it makes sense that the goals aren't very well defined. It's more about just survival this season, and
Yeah, exactly.
trying. And even I think even for Europa, I think we did not really define too much. Like we are gonna reach the semis and then see, or we're gonna reach the final, try to reach the final. I think that goal was also not defined. Like that would be my guess. It
Yeah,
was more about surviving the Premier League this season and not going too much towards relegation, like trying to
correct.
stay in the middle somewhere. And that was, I think, the only thing that we were looking at. Somehow we have kind of done well in the Europa now, like we have reached there. Okay. So
No, but
now it kind of motivates them now to go and actually get it,
yeah, but see again,
So
that's the thing. If we couldn't qualify for Europe, let's say we were knocked out of Europa in I don't know, a couple of rounds ago, right? And it's not like magically then we would start playing better in the league to get
We
some
wouldn't.
European spot.
no. That
Like we're
that
not
that
even
wasn't
if we're
gonna
far
that
away
wasn't
even
gonna
from
happen.
conference league positions right now, and that would have completely destroyed our squad setup for the next few seasons. There would be a fire sale in the summer. Even now, if
Yeah,
we lose the Europa League, even the
which is
next,
very possible.
yeah, if
Yeah,
we lose
Yeah,
against Bilbao
yeah.
4-0 or even against Tottenham in the final, there has to be a fire sale. The club is like our whole club is set up expecting European revenue. Like even when we drop from Champions League to Europa League, our club's finances take a hit. And now imagine there's no Europa or any conference or any European competition revenue. Our club is completely dead. We're already broke as shit, right? Um, we are laying off so many people. Yes, I don't
Yeah.
agree the manner in which we're laying off people, but you got to agree that we have to do these layoffs because we are so deep in the red, right? And it just boggles the mind that how soon we gave up on the league. Because if we did not have this Europa journey that we're having, the club would have been basically dead, and you could have forgotten the next 5 seasons.
No, but
And
we didn't have the personnel also to go and get sixth for the Premier League, right? To get in the first top six spots.
No,
I
I
mean,
mean
We are
Conference
not
League is
we are
still
I
not in
think
that
eighth or
I think
ninth.
the
position
So
as
do you
well.
think this side is not even a top 10 club in the league, or
I think
top
it's a
eight,
top
top
eight
nine,
squad.
right?
I think it's a top eight, top nine
Yeah,
squad.
and
I
we
don't
are
think it's better
14th.
than
So
that.
that's the thing I'm saying.
Yeah. I definitely don't think we're better than eighth, but I do think we
Yeah,
can
but we are
be
at least
sixth.
it's a side good enough to get at least the Conference League is what I'm saying, and we are far away from any of that.
No,
The
but
only
that potential is always kind of misleading in that sense, right? Like it's not necessary that even if we have, let's say you are right, and we have that kind of a squad where we can at least reach top six, top eight conference places. Yeah, but still, realistically, it doesn't add up to because the Premier League is such a competitive league. Like you see so many teams, even who are
Mm.
on par with us or even slightly better, even they keep going like they are also yo-yo.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's not a guarantee that some potential will translate to what the
Mm.
position will be in the league.
No, agreed. But I think at least we should have been kind of in that neighborhood, right? If not eighth, at least like ninth or
yeah.
10th, at least fighting for that and having some hope of, finishing, say, in a Conference League spot. But we are like far away, man. We are like 11 points off 10th
I
from
mean,
Bournemouth. So,
I mean, we haven't even cracked the 40-point barrier. Like I
yeah,
had predicted earlier in the season that we may not, and we had 11 games. So I was kind of half joking at that point. But now there's what, 3 games left, and
four.
we're still 1 point short.
We have four
Okay,
games
four
left
games.
and 1 point short. And
Yeah,
our
and I don't.
fixtures remaining are also tough. It's not, we don't have easy
Yeah,
fixtures coming up.
I think we have Villa, and like we have tough games coming up. I don't
We
think
we have
it's
Brentford, West Ham, Chelsea, and Villa.
the only one I might see us having a shot at is West Ham, and even that's a difficult one.
Yeah.
I think part of why the overall makeup of the squad feels like it's top 10, but
Mm.
where we kind of drop off is goals. Because if you
Yeah,
look at Wolves,
yeah,
right, like Wolves have a comparable squad to us, but where they definitely have better personnel is in attack.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
of course they have Matheus Cunha, who's I think scored like 12 to 15 goals in the Premier League alone this season as a 10. But they also have Jorgen Strand Larsen, who's on 14 goals. Uh, we don't have players who can hit those numbers in the Premier League, even if they want to, even if we want them to.
Mm.
And I feel that's a big part of why we're on the bad side of the yo-yo. Like we're gonna be
yeah.
a yo-yo club for a while, but it's trending downward right now. And
That's the thing, right? Personal was a big factor when Amorim came in,
Mm.
and like
yeah, and
even yeah. Go ahead.
and like you're saying that the kind of I do have concerns with Amarim's handling of the Premier League season. The only saving grace for him is the fact that we don't have recognized goal scorers. That's kind of like he may be useless or he may be a great coach, but without a goal scorer, that kind of excuse will always be valid
Yeah.
for him. And really, I mean, where do we get goals from in our squad, right? Like even I don't know where.
Bruno Fernandes.
Pretty much, and the guy's playing DM,
Yeah.
so it's tough.
Since you brought up Amarin, like before we close, and yeah, we'll quickly do predictions. But one question
Yeah,
on Amarin for both of you.
correct.
Now, I mean, everyone knows, what tactic Amarin plays. You can say that is one reason why we have struggled.
Right.
Is because
I
of
agree.
Amarim's stubborn tactic, and also that he doesn't have the personal. I'll give him that. He doesn't have the personal
Yeah.
he wants. We are really a team of misfits. I'll give Amarim that much. But
Yeah.
what I want to ask both of you is that Amorim before this was a very successful coach in Portugal, right? And it's not
Agreed.
like he used a different tactic every game. He pretty much used same tactic. This guy makes Jose Mourinho look flexible. Um, how did he win the league? Even with the players, at some point, if you play same tactic week in and week out, teams will figure you out. And it's not a knockout competition where you can kind of, win on a prayer. Right? A league is 30, 34 games. I don't know how many teams the Portuguese league has, but at least 30 games you're playing
Yeah.
across the season. Teams have a lot of time to figure you out. And this guy won the league in Portugal. So yeah, are we not giving enough credit? Like, is just players the solution to Amorim's problems, or is the Portuguese league that bad? What do you think?
Ron, I'll let you go first on this one.
Okay, okay, fine. Um, See, from what I've heard of Amorim's times at Sporting, right? It's not like he came in and like he immediately started hit the ground running. He did make a lot of changes in players, and
Hmm.
he did take some time to really build a squad which was challenging and everything.
Yeah.
It was not like an overnight thing. So, and plus, yeah, I think I do feel the Premier League is very, very, very like way more competitive than the Portuguese league. And this league is also new for Amorim. He's just come to England like
Hmm.
in mid-season. So even his own adaptation also comes into picture, right? Like he's also still learning the English game and how to survive, how to play here, how to survive here, how to win here. So not giving enough credit, like uh, he it's hard for him, and it's hard for us to say at this, like for at least for me to say a lot of about Amarim right now, because there's not enough time, not enough changes in the squad to really see his system fully functioning.
Yeah.
So it's tough for Amorim right now. So I wouldn't go and say like, okay, he's having it easy or anything.
Hmm.
It's very, very early to judge.
No, but again, like
And
Ron,
yeah,
like what I'm trying to ask you is, like Amorim played 4 full seasons, and not counting his first season where he came very late, and the last season where he was poached by us. He played 4 full seasons at Sporting, and he got 2 league titles. And he pretty much, Sandeep, correct me if I'm wrong, but he pretty much played the same tactical setup throughout his entire
Yeah.
4 seasons, right? One would
Pretty
think he
much.
would have
Yeah.
been figured out by at least the second or third season, if not. But he, like, and sure, he didn't win the title in his second and third season, but again in his fourth season he came back to win the domestic league title. I think obviously second and third season is side players, he lost players to transfers and all of that. But what I'm asking is, how did he how did he win these titles if he's so inflexible? Like, it just boggles my mind. Like, it feels like in the league teams have already have him figured out, right, in half a season. How did this guy win league titles?
I would like to go back to my point where I said that the Premier League is way more competitive than the Portuguese league, I feel.
Hmm.
It is.
And like let's say he kind of tries to do that in the Premier League as well. I think he will fail because in the Premier League in 4 years at least he will have to adapt a lot,
Yeah.
like change quite a few bit to really stay competitive and win, like to
Hmm.
repeat that thing what he did in Portugal.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily going to be the same in Premier League, and he will find out that eventually. Like he's come here now. I, in I think in Portugal it was kind of comparatively easier for him, where he could play that for 4 years and still win.
Yeah, but it's also
But I
not
think in
like
Premier League
Sporting
he'll
was
get
winning
found out.
titles, right? He won Sporting's first title after 19 years. It was pretty much a Porto and a Benfica duopoly before that.
It was, but like Like, okay, I want to highlight one thing. I agree that they didn't win the title, but if you look at Sporting's league finishes in the seasons before
Yeah,
that,
they were
right?
second and third pretty consistently.
Yeah, I mean, they would be second, third, fourth, and there
Yeah.
was like they never dropped below third or fourth. They
Yeah,
never dropped
obviously they're
below
part of the
fourth. But
top three
yeah,
or four clubs of
yeah,
Portugal. I get that.
yeah. And one of the reasons for that is like the Portuguese league's construction is a lot more like La Liga. You have like your financial powerhouses in Madrid
Mm.
and Barcelona, and they have way more muscle than the rest of the league,
Yeah.
and the gap is insane. So even in an off year, the level of talent they possess will pretty much keep
Mm.
them at the top. So with Amrim, it was the same case. Sporting was still comfortably third or fourth. Sporting also have maybe a top three academy in Europe. Forget Portugal; they have one of the best academies in all of Europe. Uh, Now, when you factor that in, when you factor in the fact that they're financially part of the big three in Portugal and the gap is massive, right?
Yeah.
What Amram really did is he took a team with third place finishes to first, right? And that's impressive. But the way he bridged that gap was he took advantage of their outstanding youth academy, and that's credit to him. He did a great job of that.
Mm.
But the level of players coming out of that youth academy is way higher than what you get on average in the
Sure.
Portuguese league.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not the case at any Premier League team.
Mm.
Not even at Man City can you count on that. The biggest reason he won without many changes, I feel, is the quality of the players. At every position, he brought in like players of a very high level compared to the rest of the Portuguese league.
Mm.
Like he needed two tens in his system.
Yeah.
One of the tens they purchased was Pedro Goncalves from
Mm.
Famalicão, if I'm
Right.
not wrong, and he was an absolute beast in that league even before coming to Sporting. He was a massive talent. United, and for that matter, even like most clubs in the Premier League can't do that, right? Like, or if you want to do that in the Premier League for each position, you'll have to spend like 75 million to
Right.
buy Van Dijk. Those are the
Yeah.
kind of
Yep.
deals you need to make
Exactly. Yep.
across the pitch. They did that for almost every position on the pitch
Mm.
while being backed by an incredible academy. I mean, that academy produced Nuno Mendes for him at left wing back. How many Nuno Mendes are there across Europe?
Yeah.
Right? I can think of maybe one player like him in Balde,
Mm.
right? And maybe Davies, but Davies isn't even from an European academy.
Yeah.
So what are the odds of that? Uh, and I have this question to ask you guys, and like take your time and think about this because I couldn't come up with anything. If you zoom out and look at all the managers we've thought of or just observed or read about in any shape or form, is there any manager you can think of who's defined by a single formation? Who's tightly associated with one numerical formation or setup?
Honestly, no. I mean, no. I know you compare him to Jose, but I think Mourinho was a very pragmatic coach. He never was tied to a formation. I think he was
Yeah,
more
he
tied to
was.
a philosophy of, having a very strong defense, especially in big games. And, he was, I mean, yes, he was a very, very defensive minded coach, but
Yeah,
he was not tied to a tactic as such. Like he would play whatever it took to win games. I mean, that guy showed it at Real Madrid. He beat Barcelona multiple times with his
yeah. I mean,
pragmatism. So I think
it,
it's not fair to compare Mourinho to Amorim.
I
But
agree. Yeah,
yeah, honestly, I've never seen a coach like Amorim, and I mean, my footballing knowledge is limited. So I'll let uh, Rowan respond if he knows anyone.
No, no, absolutely. Like all the coaches before this, they were never. I've never heard of them tied being tied to, like we
Yeah, even
we
Van
kind of
Gaal had multiple tactics, man. Like, come on.
yeah, yeah,
we kind of criticized ETH for changing so much, right? For
yeah,
changing year after year and everything, and uh, that had its own like demerits, but and flaws and everything. But it's more like, yeah, Amarim definitely is a unique person in that sense when you put it like that, sticking to one formation and everything. And I kind of agree with what Somdeep kind of what he said there.
Hmm.
Like, you know, just like how he was allowed to build at Sporting,
Yeah,
it's not gonna be the case at United. Definitely, like given the situation at the club, it's not gonna be like, he's gonna get the pick of the bunch, and so he's gonna have to adapt a lot with what he's gonna get, because Ineos is not gonna come and, you want this, we'll buy this.
We are
You
broke,
call this
man.
guy.
Ineos can't even
yeah,
give him
bro.
if they want
Yeah,
to.
So yeah, so
and I
it
mean,
will depend. It will depend on how he kind of adapts over the years. 100%. That will come into play, and he will see this more. Like the challenge is much bigger at United, way
Yeah.
much bigger.
But do you guys think, assuming Amarim gets the players he wants or the profiles he wants, let's say, right? Maybe necessarily not the players. Let's say he gets, obviously, we can't get 11 players that fit his philosophy. But even if we get like the main positions, right? Like we're still probably lacking in DM and striker and maybe wing back, maybe 3 or 4 players to have a decent Amarim tactic representation. Do you think we will challenge for the title or even top four in that case? Or do you
I
think
think
Amarim has a very defined ceiling which he will not go past, even with the players he has or he wants?
I always believe that for any like decent mid-table team like us, decent is a strong word, but you're always like five good signings in a window away
Hmm.
from competing for top four. Competing for title, that's a different story, and I
Yeah.
don't, I don't think like, I think we're very far away from that. We'll need like 11 signings and more. I don't know what we need for that. But I can see if we maybe pick say 4 players that fit Amram's system,
Yeah.
like to the T, right? Because they have to like fit it really well. Uh, and they're expensive enough, a level high enough to help us compete. Then I can see us getting top four with Amram. Yeah,
Yeah. So what
and
do you,
and I feel
hmm.
because of that, Europa League final success is even more important for Amram to be
Yeah.
able to
Yeah.
afford those changes. Because otherwise, he'll end up with more like average players.
Oh, we'll go in a tailspin if we don't get Europe next season.
Highly possible.
We probably have to sell Ahmad and Garnacho just to raise funds because they're the two best.
Don't even joke about it, man. Like,
Which is why it makes more sense now that United will try and go
Yeah.
for the final win, right?
Yeah.
Go and get, focus only on Europa.
Yeah. So yeah, what do you think, Ron? Do you kind of agree with Somdeep that maybe
I I
top
ag- I
four is
I
like a
agree.
ceiling?
I agree. No, I agree with Somdeep. Because like with let's say he gets the team that he wants at United. Let's say he gets a good, really good team. I
right.
think he'll be able to get top four.
Hmm.
Yeah.
With that. And like this is just a guess. It's not 100%, but like I think like we will need a lot more to bridge that gap between fourth to coming winning the league, winning the Premier League.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
Premier League
Yeah. I think
is
that'll be
quite
harder
quite
than
a
I.
tough, yeah, tough
Yeah.
competition to win.
I mean, Arsenal is
And
not able to bridge that
yeah,
gap, man, and they were
yeah,
like a
yeah,
way
yeah.
better
Yeah.
Even
side.
even even with
And they're a
strong
way better
principles,
side, a way better manager with
yeah.
consistent principles. I mean, and it's still difficult because it is.
No, you can't fault
I
Amorim
feel
for
the
not
gap.
having consistent principles. Come on, that guy is like probably the most
Yeah,
consistent
he's too
principled manager we have in the world right now.
No,
I really
every
try
year.
to think. I really try to think all the way back, and I don't know. Maybe Arrigo Sacchi's 4-4-2, and I couldn't think of anyone like who's lived by one formation their entire like period. And he's
Yeah,
been he's been at it for a while, right? Like you said, like 4 or 5 seasons. It's not like super recent.
No, that was 5 seasons at Sporting. He's been a coach longer than that.
Oh right, I didn't even think of that.
I also think Amorim might be like, let's say
he does well, he gets top four and everything in
Hmm.
the
Right.
upcoming seasons, let's say. Okay, he gets
Right.
the personnel, he does well and everything. I think he's not like he is stubborn, yes, but like I am kind of guessing that he might change also if he feels from within like okay maybe I need to change then he'll completely stick to another one. I feel because that can happen.
Yeah.
I won't say that won't I'm not denying the like it
Imagine
won't happen.
Ineos gets him
But
3-4-3 profile players, and 2 seasons later, like,
yeah,
nope, I want a 4-3-3 now.
no, that is
You know
that
what?
can happen. I'm,
That
I'm
will
telling
happen.
you
That will
that
happen.
can happen.
You know what? I think Rohan's right. I can see this happen. Like he's gonna wake up one day and see a 4-3-3 work, and it's gonna be like this is it.
Yeah,
Like
it's probably going to try 4-3 then experiment in, I don't know, some Liverpool game. It works out so well with misfits. You're
yeah,
like, oh no, what am I doing all these years?
and for some stupid ass reason that's gonna work, and then like it'll actually work out, and I'm gonna be so annoyed that he just shifts to from one obsession. Like this guy has an OCD kind of problem,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like
He can go from one obsession to another
Yeah.
one. That is
yeah,
he can
yeah,
be that guy. Yeah.
he's just gonna replace his addiction with another. That's
Yes.
what he is.
You know, before we quickly do predictions, I just want to say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't get enough credit for having this team compete for league titles while he was here.
Yeah, but it wasn't really this team, right? Like
No,
I
sure,
feel like the
no, no.
team.
I don't mean this team as in this team, but I mean this dysfunctional club in general. He
Uh,
had us
Yeah,
competing for league
yes.
titles. He got second in both his full seasons.
he did.
And for all the slating he got for not having a tactic and just being a vibes manager, we had
Which he was.
two tactically stubborn managers after that, and they haven't done jack so far.
Yeah, I think with Ole, the vibes were immaculate, and that really worked.
The
Like
vibes are like,
he was
But
like,
but Pratyush, do you
yeah,
do you see the common denominator here?
what?
Like managers, like different styles of managers not working out.
because I don't think we really hired like a top level manager since Sir Alex left. I mean, they've all turned us down, rightly so.
No, but I
I
mean,
think I think they would have also failed.
all the top managers kind of failed with us. The only manager who
Yeah.
succeeded was Ole, who's not even a manager. He's like a failed guy at Cardiff and comes us and gets us second in 2 seasons.
Yeah, I think I
Got
also
them
think Ole.
relegated.
It, I think Ole at that point in time, for whatever reason, he, despite everything, he managed to build a pretty decent United squad. Like we did have credit to him for that as well. I think his squad building was actually decent, maybe even better than
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He doesn't get enough
the
coverage
relegation.
from fans. Like,
Yeah,
That same squad kind of like was the reason he got sacked, right?
yeah. I think his final transfer window was a
yeah.
disaster, and I don't think he had full control of it.
No, he
Looking at
he, he
the news
definitely
that
didn't.
came out, yeah.
Okay.
So definitely.
All right. Let's set in some quick predictions. We have Brentford and Athletic before we come back next week. Let's start with Brentford. I think we lose 2-0, Somdeep, or more.
Uh, yeah, I'm with you. 2-0. Actually, that's exactly what I think as well. We lose 2-0.
Rowan.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I could agree with that. Yes, 2-0. No, and would want Mbuemo to score.
You want your
He's
fantasy team,
probably
don't you?
yes, yes.
Gonna be Mbemo and Visa.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And what about the Athletic return leg at Old Trafford? Rowan.
And I don't want to jinx it. So without like fingers crossed,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, I think we will win this second leg as
Okay. Any scoreline predictions?
well. Uh, probably 2-1.
Okay.
2-1. Yeah.
Somdeep.
I'm fairly certain we'll lose or draw.
Mm.
I think it'll be like a goal scoring loss, like a 3-2 or something.
Okay.
But we'll make it through to the final, just
Mm.
about.
Okay. Yeah, a
Yeah,
3-2 loss would
I'm
still be a
going
very
3-2.
comfortable tie win because we have a 3 goal
Yeah,
lead now.
yeah, or maybe 3-1 because like
Hmm.
goals, 3 goals. I mean, we scored 3 goals already. I don't see that happening
Yeah, we're definitely
every
not
time.
scoring 3 goals again. Yes, today's game was an aberration.
Yeah,
I think for Bilbao, the home leg, I will go with the 1-1 draw. I think
yeah.
I think Bilbao score early because they'll be in a lot of you know
Mhm.
they'll be charged up to kind of get something out of this. So I think they scored the first goal, and I think then out of absolutely nowhere, I don't know, Casemiro scores a thunderbuster and makes it 1-1. And I think at that point, Bilbao just give up. They again go back 3 goals deficit. They go back to a 3 goal deficit and probably have 1 hour or 45 minutes remaining this game, and that's probably too much even for a side like Bilbao to cover. I think at that point we'll just won't see any more goals.
Yeah, I can see that play out that way.
Yeah. All right. That's it for us today on this episode. Make sure to um, subscribe to our channel. Go tell your friends. If you're seeing this on Twitch right now, make sure to go follow us on YouTube. And if you're seeing this on YouTube right now, if you like to catch us live, don't forget to subscribe to us on Twitch. And we will see you next week right after the Bilbao game. So yeah, hopefully we have another
If we win,
hopefully we have another happy episode next week because they're definitely losing to Brentford. So Bilbao is our only hope at this point.
yeah,
Yes.
play
Yeah,
the kids against Brentford.
yeah, play the kids again. All right, see you folks next week.